My name is Nicole Anderson. I'm a project manager with Clancy Theys, and I was the project manager of the Hampton, Virginia AquaPlex from the conceptual portion of design through construction.
The primary objective was that the City of Hampton could have a competition 50-meter pool that seats 1,500. And everything at this design sort of evolved around that. It was what else could they do with this parcel of land? How could they take money that they'd already set aside for a new pool facility and make it that much more impactful for the community? Working with Guernsey Tingle on this design build process, collectively the whole design team was able to incorporate this wonderful splash park called Splashdown Park with an outdoor facility that will be seasonal.
The objectives for the Hampton, Virginia AquaPlex were to build a sports tourism venue that also was an answer for the community's need for an aquatic center. We were missing an aquatic center due to the removal of one of the pools in the city. And as the city considered whether to replace that swimming pool or whether to build a venue that could accommodate that need, as well as sports tourism and aquatic competition, this was the perfect answer to that question. And there is no venue like this really in the state. This is a very unique facility. It's going to be the largest when it opens. This is something that not only the aquatics community, the competitive aquatics community, not just swimming, but diving, artistic swimming, water polo, it's going to introduce all those sports to new audiences in this region.
So actually in 2017, Hampton came to us, asked us for a budget for this facility. They wanted to see what kind of cost was going to be involved in it. So we started with that, and then we got with Guernsey Tingle in 2018 and decided that we'd propose a PPEA for this project. So we went ahead and started doing some preliminary designs and price costs and met with the owner multiple times to get an understanding of what they wanted.
I got involved in about January of 2018 with Clancy Theys and the rest of our design team to ultimately work in secret for a while. There is a process called PPEA where if a locality accepts that bit of legislation, it allows for private entities such as our team to submit a proposal that wasn't solicited explicitly by the locality for a project that would be publicly funded.
So in 2018, they accepted the proposal. And then once they do that, then you got to go through another process of putting it out for every other general contractor to look at. Towards either the end of 2018 or the beginning of 2019, that they went ahead and accepted our full proposal. And then we started the actual design of the project. And beginning of 2020 is when we started the actual pricing for this facility that's here now.
The city's vision for the Hampton, Virginia AquaPlex, I think resulted from a seed planted years ago when they were considering the property around Hampton Coliseum, whether to build the Hampton Roads Convention Center, the possibility of a natatorium, what the best use of that property might be. Of course, they went with the beautiful Hampton Roads Convention Center, but I think there was still a desire, there was such a need in this region for an aquatic center, a competitive aquatic center, and a place where all of the residents could learn to swim and had potential to grow, in their aquatics knowledge. I think that this just was a prevailing notion that this would be a great solution for the campus surrounding Coliseum and Hampton Roads Convention Center, and a great complement to the sports tourism product that we already have.
The unique part about the Hampton, Virginia AquaPlex was that a whole slew of people were working on this job for a couple years, even before design started. And that was people on the architecture and the construction side, the engineering side, and the City of Hampton. So by the time we started, there was already so much excitement surrounding it. But because it was a design build process, we were able to be involved early on and really be so integrated into the design and the knowledge of this facility that by the time we started construction, we had this level of understanding of the project. We really knew what the owner wanted from this world-class facility. And it was always our goal that we were making sure the design and the actual construction met that needs. We were looking at it from how do we make sure that this facility is going to perform well over the years that it's going to be used by this community. So it was a unique project in that we had a lot of time to really take ownership in it. And we have always felt like we were very much a part of the team that is bringing this to fruition.
Well, it was the first aquatic center that I've ever done, so that made it very interesting. So there's a lot of learning curve that I had to come around to, because I know what a pool, I've owned pools, but to this depth and scope of the project, it was a lot more. So understanding how to put this big hole in the ground with water in it and build a structure around it took a lot of conceptual thinking and process to try to figure out how to put it all together.
Well, you know, in a nutshell, the objective was to build really good, beautiful swimming pools that'll last for way after my life, which is always a good thing. That makes me feel good. And I think we succeeded. I mean, the facility's beautiful. Dimensionally, we have to be very perfect on something that's made of concrete and so big. We have a variance of no more than 3/8 of an inch. That's really tough to do. You know, there was a lot of automation in this project. A lot of it was new to us, but we're intuitive because we've been in the pool business 35 years, and I think we succeeded, you know, in getting what the city wanted. So.
It was a challenging project. It had a lot of logistical challenges with the pools. Real deep excavations adjacent to shallow excavations, and there's a lot of underground utilities that run through these areas. So there was a lot of challenges with coordinating all those utilities and coordinating our concrete pieces and making everything work together and finding room for it all to fit. So it was a challenging project, but it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of good coordination.
What I enjoyed most about this project was actually working with the project team. This was also my first job with Clancy Theys, and the project team was so personable but professional. I loved, as hard as it was sometimes, being held accountable for maybe issues that came up, but I knew that they were holding me accountable to get the job done. But not only that, I knew that they were holding me accountable, but also other subcontractors that we were working with. I loved how the Clancy team was so transparent, but also urgent. Whenever there was an issue that came up, it was always to find an immediate solution, not to brush it under the rug to try to deal with later. And that's what I loved most about this. It was a great first time working with Clancy Theys.
It's been really great having the level of knowledge that everyone has, like the high level of knowledge that everyone on this team has throughout the entirety of the project. So often we have projects that start with, it might be me as the architect and a client, then that moves through a good bit of design, and then we get other engineers involved, and then they help produce the final set of drawings, and then we pull in a contractor, and they're coming in fresh, having no idea about anything that has happened previously other than the drawings in front of them, and then learning from then on. But having this entire team together from the get-go has benefited this project in so many ways.
So technology really played a role in all aspects of the coordination and documentation of this job. Clancy Theys uses some really cool stuff that I'd never seen before with their drone and their cameras that they walk around the job site with 360 view, and we were able to use that during coordination meetings to, even during COVID, when we had some remote meetings, we were able to pull up those images and the drone shots and the BIM, BIM documents, and kind of have a 3D and real-time picture of what the construction was like and how to fit a, there's some duct that's underneath of this pool that's 3 foot in diameter, and to fit that through walls, and we were able to see all that remotely and still keep the job moving. Yeah, so technology, I think, was a huge part in putting this whole thing together.
The more important stuff, like a lot of the software that Clancy Theys brought to the project, such as open space, I could depend on, once this started going under construction, I could depend on weekly 360-degree hard hat camera photos from walking this entire complex, once a week at least. So if an issue came up, I could be in my office that's, we're only 30 minutes away, but still, so many times that saved us site visits. We had benefited from drone photography several times. We used BIM 360, which is an Autodesk product, to coordinate all of our Revit models throughout the entire design. We had a whole process of making our models available for other consultants and the contractor, and then they could accept those models when they were ready, and we could maintain when each person was doing all this stuff and make sure everyone had the most up-to-date models and information. And then just recently we completed all the punch lists for the project. So going around and just double checking, hey, this needs to be painted, this railing's missing, things like that. All of those were documented in BIM 360 as well. And that's probably the best way I've ever done a punch list. That's the first time using it. It's probably the best time using it.
Doing this modeling ahead of time, there's so much stuff underground that you don't see. I mean, it's a massive pool, so there's a lot of plumbing underground. And with two large excavations side by side, trying to get all the pipes underground, this massive duct underground, the way that Clancy used their technology and being able to see progression in the model that, hey, in 3 days, we want to be here. In 3 weeks, we want to be here. This is what your underground should look like here. And seeing how they leveled the model with a time sequence was a huge headache saver for us, because we knew exactly where to be and when to be there, which was great. So the way that the project used technology as a whole saved us a lot of money in the long run.
Well, I'm covering old ground here. The biggest challenge was there's not a lot of space around the pools, and there's a lot underground, so we had to do a lot of coordinating, some redesign as we went. This is a precast building. These panels go deep in the ground, so before we even started, we had to plan where our penetrations were going to go through, because once they're cable reinforced, you cannot drill holes in them. So there was a lot of coordinating. That was a challenge initially. We all felt good, and off we went. As far as the pools goes, especially the 50-meter pool, was the dimensional tolerances that we could work with. I would hate for a kid to break a state record, regional record, or a national record, or heck, even a world record on a facility like this. And when they go to certify his record, the pool's the wrong dimension, he loses his record.
We got such good input from our design team and our subcontractors. There were so many challenges on this job just because it was a unique build that no one company, no one person could ever solve that problem. And it really had to take let's get our heads around the table. How can we approach this? How can we solve this? Because there were a lot of, sometimes they felt very insurmountable issues or ways that we had to approach the build. And so just being able to look back on that and knowing that you have these trusted partners that you can rely on has been probably the most memorable part of this job for me.
So it was a very positive experience. We had regular meetings that allowed us to talk about, any questions and the status of each stage of the construction project. And they, because of these very unique times, there were supplies that weren't available, and there were some unexpected delays, and that applied to the fixtures as well. It just took a little time for everything to come together, but there was a real team effort. And I really admired Nicole's ability to keep everything together, and Ron Sterling as well for the City of Hampton. I thought they both did an exceptional job.
Gosh, I had such a great experience working with them. It was my first time working with Clancy Theys, and it seems trivial, but one of the best things that or one of the best parts of my experience with Clancy Theys was just the sheer organizational aspect of things. That just trickles down to every other aspect of the job. And it also seems like Clancy Theys has really invested over years to train all of their staff on and pour into them a lot of skills for that to play out throughout projects. They also pour into a lot of technology that could be hardware and software to aid in documentation of the project and to be able to resolve issues really quickly, whether you're there, whether you're remote. It completely, or it benefited the entire team in a really significant way.
One of the first projects we've done with Clancy Theys, we worked with them on, and they were fantastic to work with, from pre-construction all the way to punch list. Very, very automated, very good communication throughout the project, very skilled. They were great to work with through the whole project.
Well, I will say that some additional thoughts that I'd like to share are the beautiful design of this facility really can be attributed to Guernsey Tingle and with their partnership with Clancy Theys. I just thought that they did an incredible job designing the Hampton, Virginia AquaPlex to meet the needs of the swim community, to make sure that it was to spec when it came to what USA Swimming requires of its venues, and to make sure that it was attractive. And so I'm so pleased with the way the building has developed in comparison to the original plans. The plans were, beautiful, but the actual product is incredible.
I just hope that thousands of people enjoy this facility, and not always, as a contractor, that makes you feel good. Whatever you build out there, I'm in an industry where, I'm not building a parking garage. I'm building fun things, swimming pools, fountains, water parks. And I always get a kick out of watching people enjoy it. If they have any kind of meetup, I might be up in the stands. I don't have any kids in the game, but I'll come watch anyway, because I don't know, I'll see kids high five each other because they won a relay or whatever it is. And so there's been some tough days out here. We've worked through winters, we've had snow, we've had rain, we've had mud, and then in the end, we broke a lot of eggs, but we made a great omelet. That's what I like to say. So.
It's been really cool too, seeing how passionate everyone is. Whenever we are remembering, it's like, the intent of this project in the community, the things they're going to use it for, learn to swim programs, and getting kids excited about the sport of competitive swimming, or artistic swimming, or diving, or any number of things, or just goofing around at the splash park outside. So many people on this team were just as passionate about this project, and that kept us going through a lot of the tougher issues that we had to resolve, design decisions or otherwise we had to get past.
Well, I'm very excited to see this pool on TV and see people breaking world records. We hope this is a very fast pool. We have done a lot of things to construct this pool to really tight tolerances for the 50-meter swim. So I'm very excited, and I hope everybody that's been involved in this job just takes a level of pride in what they were a part of.